Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we just have some basic maintenance on a 2010. It's a Honda Accord with a 2.4 liter engine. We're just basically going to be changing the oil and the filter and resetting that maintenance light inside there. As you know, that the maintenance light or that little wrench light needs to be reset every time you do an oil change. So first thing we're going to do is let me show you how to reset the maintenance reminder light, and then we're going to go underneath the car and we're going to do the oil and filter. I know that this vehicle holds 4.2 quarts of oil because I did look it up on the computer, but even after you put in the 4.2 quarts, you do start the vehicle, let it run, and then just check the level just to make sure it's full. So all right, let me get in there. We'll reset the oil life right now, and then we'll do the oil change. So come on, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, first thing you're going to notice is when you start the vehicle up, you'll see that little wrench light on the dashboard there lit up, and the oil life reads only 15%. Now your oil life can vary to different percentages, so the way you reset it is you have the car either running or you can have it with just the ignition key on. As you can see now, I just have the ignition key on, it's not running. And what you do is you press this button here, and if you're on this screen here, you would just press and release until you come to the oil life percentage. Then you hold that button in and you wait for that light to start to blink. Takes about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Starts to blink, you release it, and then you press it and you hold it one more time, and you wait for it to reset to 100%. It'll stop blinking. That's it, reset to 100%. Now, we shut the key off and we'll start it up, and that light should be off, as it is. Alright, so now we reset the oil maintenance. Let's get underneath the car and let's do the oil and filter change. Okay, now that we're underneath the vehicle, this is your actual oil drain plug, and this is your oil filter. What we're going to do is we're going to take both of these off, and we'll drain the fluid, the oil out of it, and we'll take the filter off and we'll change the filter too. So we're going to get a socket. We're going to use a socket on here. You're not going to use an open-end wrench, and we have a special tool to take this off too. So all right, let me grab some tools and get an oil drain bucket, and we'll get this started. Okay, here's an example of what kind of tools you're going to need to take this off. You're going to need a ratchet with a 17mm socket, or you're going to need a 17mm wrench. And these are the two different kind of tools, or there's actually one more kind too. Let me grab it, I'll show you. These are the different tools you can use to take the oil filter off. You can use a regular band wrench. You can use one that actually, a cap that fits over the bottom, or you can use a universal one like this that actually opens up and expands to different sizes as needed, and of course an extension to use it on there. So all right, let's drain the oil and filter, and we're going to continue. Okay, now this is underneath the vehicle, obviously. We're going to be changing the, we're going to drain the oil first. And the way you do it is, you see how this wrench goes on here? You never use the open-end portion of a wrench to take out an oil drain plug. If you use an open-ended wrench, you're going to wind up stripping out this, you're going to wind up stripping out the drain plug, and you're going to have a problem. So always use either the box end of a wrench, or what I always use is a ratchet. All right, so it's counterclockwise to take it off. Make sure you have it on nice and tight, and it comes right out. Make sure you have a suitable bucket to drain your oil into, and then we'll take the oil drain plug out and we'll let it drain. It's always a good idea to wear a pair of gloves so you don't get the oil on your hands. All right, we're just going to let that drain out a little bit, and while it's draining, we're going to take that filter off. Now remember, on the filter, I told you there's lots of different ways to do it. We're going to lower this down a little bit. You can use a cap like this that goes over the top like this to take it off, or you can use something like this that fits around it like this, and it takes it off like that. So I'm going to use the other one because I like this one better. It just goes over the top just like this. And after you loosen it now, we're just going to lift our bucket up, and we'll let the filter drain out also. So just make sure you have your bucket under it, because it will definitely make a mess. That's what's the good thing about wearing gloves. You're wearing gloves, you take the gloves off and you throw them away, and you're fine. All right, so we're going to take that filter down now. Now, I just want to point this out to you. And this is very important with every time you do an oil change. You see how that filter came down? That filter came out, and now you think that this filter is out and it's okay, and you can put your new filter up. But you see right here? The gasket here didn't come down. The gasket is still stuck right here. See that gasket right there? That's why it's very important that when you do an oil change, make sure you take that gasket down, because that gasket, if you leave this gasket up here and you put the new filter on, you're going to start the car up and you're going to have oil every place except where you want it. It'll be all over the floor instead of in the engine. All right, so we're just going to let this drain out a little bit better here. Once everything drains out, we are going to change this gasket right here. I'm going to grab a new one. I'm going to put the new gasket on here, and once it finishes draining, we'll come back and we'll finish this job off. So for now, grab yourself a cup of coffee, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. All right, now after it drains and we put our new drain plug on, plug washer on, we're going to put the plug back in. You're going to be careful not to strip it, because you're screwing into an aluminum oil pan, so you don't want to over tighten it and strip it. All right? Now next thing is you're going to take your oil filter, you're going to put a bead of clean motor oil, not dirty. That oil will come from the container. All right, just put it on the filter just like this, and then you screw it back up here. And this is very important. You never want to tighten it with a wrench. You only tighten it as tight as you can possibly make it by hand. Just like that. Nice and tight. And wipe off any of the residual oil. Like that. And now we're going to lower it down, and we'll continue under the hood. Okay, now that we got the car back down on the ground, we're going to take the oil filter cap, the oil filler cap off. Put the funnel in. Very important is that you make sure you use the correct oil. You see this calls for 5W20. You have to make sure you use 5W20, nothing else, all right? Now we know from looking it up on the computer that this takes 4.2 quarts of oil. So we're going to put in 4.2, or approximately 4.2. And then we're going to start the vehicle up just to make sure it's full, and we'll check it again. All right, very important. Always make sure it says the 5W20. Once you've got the oil filled up with your 4.2 quarts of oil, install your cap, and then we're going to start it up momentarily, and then we'll shut it back off. So we're going to let it run for a couple of seconds, and we'll shut it off. Okay. Now the levels of what it says in your book is pretty much just Okay, you always wipe your stick down to make sure it's nice and clean, and you want to make sure that it's filled right between these marks right here. So we're going to check it just to make sure. Remember, that's just an estimate when it gives you 4.2. It's approximate. You always check it to make sure that it's full after you do it. And as you can see, it's short just a little bit, so we're going to add a little bit more, and we're going to bring it right up to that full mark there. Check it again. And there you go, it's right up to the full mark. Alright? That's it. Any kind of oily residue around, make sure you clean it up. And that's it. Alright, now we're going to take a look underneath the vehicle to make sure there's no leaks underneath there. So just make sure that you don't have any leaks underneath the vehicle. Check your fluid underneath to make sure it's nice and dry. And that's it, you're all set. Alright, thanks for watching. Any questions or comments, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody about anything. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.